If you're a musician who'd like to fill your teaching studio with more of your ideal students, start with your bio. Your bio matters because it's an online stand-in for a real-life meeting and handshake. What do I mean? Imagine someone who's looking for a music teacher gets referrals for 3 musicians. What do they do next? They Google them. Here's what they typically find. The first musician has no website and their social media doesn't feature their teaching. The second musician has a performance website, but again, no information about their teaching. And the third has a site with a bio that's full of boring lists of degrees, awards, and concert info, with only a vague mention of their availability for teaching tacked on at the end. If these 3 musicians want to attract their ideal students, you'd never know it from what they have online. Hi, I'm Angela Beeching, and I help musicians get more of their best work out into the world. In this video, I'm walking you through what actually makes a teaching bio effective with 3 real-life examples plus prompts to write your own. Many musicians assume that if they list their degrees, their fancy performance credits, and how long they've been teaching, and the schools where they've taught, that that's enough. It's not. Because none of that tells a prospective student or their parent what they actually want to know. First, what's it really like to study with you? Second, what results do your students get? Third, they want to know whether they'll feel seen, supported, and challenged. And here's a bonus. Make sure your bio is specific enough so that people who aren't a right fit for you turn away. That saves everyone time. If you no longer take beginners, say that. And if you only teach online, make that clear too. An effective music teaching bio covers not just what you teach and who you teach, but also how you teach and why you teach. So up next, I've got 3 different teaching bio excerpts to see how to handle this. A couple of these are from a few years back, and though the pages themselves aren't live anymore, what made them work hasn't changed. First is in an excerpt from the Berklee College of Music faculty pages from a few years back. I love that these include first-person quotes from faculty members about their teaching. This one is from voice teacher Sofia, who was on Berklee's faculty at the time. She writes, I teach my voice students to be independent and to think as musicians, to be able to understand, perform, and write music with the skills of an instrumentalist. And that is why I include in my teaching improvisation, rhythmic training, songwriting, and ear training techniques as well. I love leading my students to the process of discovering their musical personality, to train their voice to be the instrument of their own imagination. So notice what you notice. She states what she includes in lessons and why, and this isn't in a boring list of credentials, just a clear sense of what studying with her is actually like and what she loves in doing this. Here's what you can steal: the idea of quoting yourself in your teaching bio. If the rest of your teaching bio is in third person, you can always enliven it by including a quote from yourself like this for an immediate sense of your energy and mission. Next, here's an excerpt from the teaching bio of pianist Walter Aparicio, a former client of mine from a previous site. And he writes, as a teacher, my aim is to help students unlock the meaning and message of any piece of music. For me, both teaching and learning are about exploration, inquiry, and experimentation. The opening line here is his why, stated as a mission, not a credential. So there's no degree, no school name, just what he's trying to give students. If your own why is still fuzzy, here's the fastest way to find it. Finish this sentence out loud before you start editing. My aim as a teacher is to. And later on in his bio, Walter has this. My goal is to do more than teach piano. I help students become problem solvers and independent learners as they find their own artistic voices. I've taught students ages 5 to 68 and have found that at every age, the discovery of how music can communicate and connect people is richly rewarding. There are two things going on in this one paragraph. First, transferable skills, problem solving, and independent thinking. Parents respond to what music learning offers beyond musical skills, so name your version of this directly rather than counting on them to infer it. Second, an actual age range, 5 to 68, not all ages and skill levels, which tells a prospective student nothing except that you'll take anyone. If you don't know the exact range, ballpark it. What's the youngest student you've taught and roughly the oldest? And this third example is from flutist Meghan Shanley Alger, another former client of mine. This is from the Interested in Lessons page on her website. She writes, "For me, teaching is all about expanding the world of possibilities for my students. My goal is to help them find a sense of belonging through exploration and self-discovery. Using arrangements of traditional music and compositions by underrepresented composers, I help spark students' curiosity about themselves, the music, and the world." That's Megan's why statement about what her goals are for her students and how she goes about this, sparking curiosity through a range of repertoire. And here's what comes next in her bio. My students play everything from Harburg, Hindemith, and Quantz to Schubert, Mercadent, and Quimajan. Lessons are energized through the introduction of extended techniques and composition, so students have the skills and confidence to experiment with music limitlessly. Studio successes include acceptances to Maryland Classic Youth Orchestra, Potomac Valley Youth Orchestra, All-State Senior Band, as well as the University of Maryland School of Music. Students also regularly earn top scores from MMEA Solo and Ensemble Festival. So you've seen 3 examples, and now it's your turn. Try using these prompts for writing your next version of your teaching bio. For your why, use "my aim as a teacher is to." For what your teaching is actually like, use "in lessons we" and "my students gain," so you can name specific skills or outcomes. For the concrete details you want to include, use "I've taught students ages A to O." And for repertoire, use "my students explore repertoire from." And here I always say you want to name 5 or 6 specific, diverse composers. So not the usual suspects, and please don't list them in chronological order. And last, for value adds, for those special extra things that you include in your teaching, use "what I build into the studio experience is." Now, there's some people that include improvisation or composition, sight reading, chamber music, community performances, whatever it is. The goal is to show, not tell, what makes your teaching work. That way, when you're one of those 3 musicians on someone's referral list and they look you up online, your teaching bio works as a call to action, a great introduction that inspires them to book that first lesson with you. When the right students see themselves in your words, they reach out, and that's how you build a studio of students you love to teach. But your bio is only one piece of a complete teaching package. You'll also need photos or videos of you and students in action, testimonials, a studio policy statement, and a link to schedule a complimentary meeting or sample lesson. If you want help crafting a standout teaching bio and revamping your materials for a job search, my Land the Job program covers it. The link's in the description below. And if you found this helpful, like it and send it to a musician who could use it. Subscribe for more. We're all in this together. See you next time.